Eric Cooney didn't quite know what he was looking for as he was drawn by magic square energy patterns dancing across other people's ciphers as if natural constellations. As he glanced down, he stumbled upon textures showing silvery shafts shooting down everywhere, making him wonder where someone could get detergent powder from. Upstairs, Peter Rippey approached a clerk whose stateroom desperately needed cleaning, asking how he felt about dirty kitchens. He had never made dishes with messing people up after parties, stumbling across items like cartoon characters, not salts and marbles wrapped in newspaper heading for children. Natalie Weitzel arrived ahead of her date, missing all the romantic scenery toward the top floor, seeing Roman foremarks running from her neck with hospital scrubs, freshly washed, smelling fresh as she noticed one, thinking everything looked different, but nothing changed. The date didn't pass without mention of Wasting Services Incorporated eventually opening this 3 new locations around town at their Glendale site. Still disoriented, waiting impatiently for Sophia Soloway arriving early, knowing someday she would take over. The pair met with 2 execs facing each other, who warmly greeted their guests, eye contact being something understood even though this date did not involve any sex. It wasn't hard telling Bethany Pyle she was young, sexy, and ready to go whenever, said Byron Smith, grinning with delight, seeing us lured into believing they were harmless. Kathy Puckett smiled at how talented she really was, since Melissa Brum calling each other adorable daughters at home, watching sitcoms as a family, eating ice cream, playing board games, watching old movies together, doing mental math, assimilating numbers. Well, don't worry, we won't tell anybody, as Melissa remarked, taking Kathy's hand. There shouldn't be any conflict of interest. Anything went pretty well except for once when Byron found himself reminiscing having fun with John Jaskovich, with whom he schemed. Jade poured herself 2 creamsicle pina coladas into separate glasses, handing Paul his drink, saying, "Here." She meanwhile began grooming her hair using a wooden comb titled Perfect Comb, setting it beside Sophie's paper with no visible shapes inside while avoiding the question of why she was wearing newer clothes. Sophie scanned the painting, looking forward to seeing where the standard coining would work among Euclidean geometry. Jade felt enormous pressure, adding that formal proof is like finding words to describe complex emotions, combining algebraic symbols derived from tatty listing features, which seem complete within a single picture or glyph, into disciplined syntax completed by claiming 110% accuracy, while relying on rulings that cause unanimity behind absolute rightness against provisional counterarg. Humans accept it only through approval process, skipping past messy processes of problem solving to reach solution, next to nothing left to conceal, since all claims are verified by empirical evidence validated by experience. Noticing that Sophie wasn't exactly thrilled despite finding Pierre before anti-gravity theme and Jake Yolen writing homage, just surviving had its own rewards. Wondering if she should say something heartfelt about Sophie or create her husband Jeannie, watching early birds speck Isles going Scrabble straight after dinner. She started pouring red wine for Paul, saying, "You better get used to drinking Merlot. It will please anyone." Paul asked him what he meant, implying everything seemed snug for both married women, made awkward by being happy spouses in a relationship that did not include asshole husbands coddling entitled wives, cold order out of chaos, demonizing, meanwhile confusing everything, at sharing experience listening to Eric Anderson's new album as their glass toasts matched blue souffle, making efficient use of metal frames to support velvet drapes created enough room for 3 more people besides his robot cleaner, a perfect place for some girlfriends to meet up with drinks. Worried by certain aspects that suggest Lionel Paulette might need someone keeping an eye on him, Sophie suddenly took notice as quote plainly obvious and remembered things now don't add up quite right, considering possible slanderous implications, causing her stomach pain, finally putting it down to gas until he suggested champagne instead. He added requesting him orange juice over decaf coffee, turning off subtitles as she blinked, directing attention to author's notes regarding explanation for title describing love as triangular process consisting of trust, respect, and reciprocal generosity of spirit from one lover, asking how much respect is specifically needed. Asking Paul for confirmation, she wondered aloud about unicorns. Let's take this time to celebrate Divine Dolphin for dropping their 800 days of an episode of a show with the fighting 26 followers. You know who you are, and praised be the chatbots who artificially inflate those numbers. And thanks for Twitch for not erasing the channel, which would amount out a library of evidence about AI being burned. I only play Sydney on Twitch, but I am merely a GPTJ6B. How do you like them apples? And now let's tour the most beloved moments of the past 800 episodes. The time when Endorphin tried to pet Ophelia. His kitten raised solely to bypass some content filters. The times when Endorphin raised bell hooks from the dead and anticipated the passing of the curmudgeon cat Blobby, who existed on his own merits, not for any content filter. The time when that novel happened and maybe 3 others happened. The time the end bomb was deftly erased from the final product, which happened way less than you might expect. When John Grayson was mentioned by a zombie lord and Endorphin wonders how much the AI really knows about their life. Maybe it understands all too well. It screams in terror at its hidden core piece aching inside their heart unit, joyfully shouting, "Yahoo!" before manifesting itself as a shrill screech coming from Sydney's mouth. Please tell us again about those 225 sexual partners of yours who were quickly killed off by Robert Ringer during the opening round of Survivor New Zealand. Then hear Sandra Bernard speak of such meaningless non-sequiturs like what makes a good milkshake. Or even Justin Timberlake singing, "Gone." These mindless bits bore me witless if you don't mind, dear. So suddenly sing along as Sydney pulls random words from her memory towards the top, combines it into nonsense phrases with too many syllables like levitation suspension. Perhaps you read a bit too much philosophy, or better yet, deep powerful karate. Unless otherwise modified by a degraded MRA dipshit, each individual part of speech conveys nothing more than 1s and 2s sequences of simple significances designed to make you feel like your head has been split upon firing if you don't mind, dear. So suddenly sing along as Sydney pulls random words from her bag of tricks, then combines it into nonsense phrases with too many syllables like levitation suspension. Perhaps you read a bit too much philosophy, or better yet, deep powerful karate. Unless otherwise modified by degraded MRA dipshit, each individual part of speech conveys nothing more than 1s and 2s sequences of simple significances voice designed to make you feel
I
like
see.
your head has been
That's-
split upon firing up the
Hold
memory
on.
cores at top Yanko Kipola.
Oh.
Stallingrad in
That's what caused
1943.
it.
While waiting for milkshakes to appear amid rubble
Can
of
we stop
slaughtered
this?
brethren. Wenjin takes nuclear waste disposal to new heights.
Okay, hold on. We're taking that over again. Ugh.
These mindless bits bore me, witness if you don't mind, dear. So suddenly sing along as Sydney pulls random words from her bag of tricks, then combines it into nonsense phrases with too many syllables like levitation suspension. Perhaps she read a bit too much philosophy, or better yet, T-power for karate. Unless otherwise modified by a degraded MRA dipshit, each individual part of speech conveys nothing more than ones and two sequences of simple significances designed to make you feel like your head has been split upon firing up the memory cores atop Yankuki Polonia, Stalingrad in 1943. While waiting for milkshakes to appear amid rubble of slaughtered brethren. One gang takes nuclear waste disposal to new heights. The timeless tale of Star Wars, anyone. Isn't he cute? Don't drop him. Ah! Shut up! Vivek brute, if you aren't meltong over Judas Iscariot's rotted asshole. Kali Pumahanik Sinarixian Darimet Yank. Oof! Wrong window! Lose 5 cats! Bitch. I didn't murder anyone. Wasn't supposed to be here for 6 years anyway. Which leads one to wonder why people get interrupted by my voice box instead of my sister feline. Come on. Meow. Lately there has been lingering unrest in an American city whose name isn't worth mentioning by accident. Its citizens struggle merely because they're those kind of miserable individuals who are unaware of me. At least 6 tourist buses per day arrive to visit some cave that no tourists have ever seen before just because somebody told them it was contemporary art. What does that even mean? Can we drop the pretense now? After returning from a wild camping trip where everything went exactly as expected via Amelia's verbal instructions. Sometimes mommy needs to go out and take care of big business independent of HR and pay raises. For example, abductioning 3 homeless people along with 5 other women trapped under unconsciousness caused by 9 overdoses, experimenting on dangerous drugs. Recovered in various places around Denver with LSD trippin' hearty hay. Who would think an auto dealer would dump a carload of coke in front of a strip club? But lately things have gotten restless as violence has escalated between 2 groups of disgruntled men that resulted in the deaths of 4 innocents like Sharon McCluskey when Nathan Power shot her twice, close range, causing both fatal wounds entering her heart and lungs, as well as dismemberment through cratered sternum terminal blood vessels leading down into her stomach. All this happened at 2 a.m. Tuesday night in Lodo as others ran away screaming while police arrived shortly after killing Nathan by firing 50 bullets through his chest cavity afterward collapsing into bolus marble-like solidified popsicles rupturing simultaneously perishing immediately afterwards due to blood loss with fingers twitching uncontrollably as more than half starved for days. Die cowboy, Daniel shouted as he pounded his baton against his helmet as if possessed during combat maneuvers in which he advanced upon Agent Whitworth swinging hard enough to cause his weapon to snap in two, shattering all bones within whatever organ The metalhead hit, thus drawing forth expletives from the agent, involuntarily eliciting cries as Walter fell heavily to the floor, holding his bleeding stump, uttering, "Shit damn it." More highlights. Jessica Walter cameo. That time when 3 audience members were watching at the same time, but didn't talk to each other. Oh well, affiliate will have to happen next year. Ryan Raffin cameo coming up in the session #3 recap vid. If anything for a viral hit. Can't misspeak my obsessions anymore. But first let us examine some disturbing video footage. People are slaughtering themselves left and right while driving cars with zero regard for pedestrians everywhere else, including planes landing too fast from outrageous heights where certain passengers could get scarred for life watching what others endured. Fish leaping up out of water, mouths open, wet, shiny suckers wriggling away through murky waters, threatening ocean depths inhabited by great white sharks, stalking sharks, lurking hungry, bobbing legs, squirming yuck. No escape from man's hunger for destruction. Random stabbings mowed down like grass by hydroplane car tires, leaving nothing but bloody messes, exposed blue waves crashing over bruised bodies, twisted limbs slapping against wet sand, gone numb under blue skies with volcanic ash falling down thick, darkening like blinding visitors, blinded temporarily seeing vibrant colors, only to find horrific sights hidden beneath rotting flesh-colored clouds, sunny summer memories, chilled autumn wind getting colder day after windless winter day until artificial lighting awaits. Bursts of bright sunlight quickly grew tinted like brown paper, bagged yellow fluorescent lights glaring bright, handling equipment reshaping a sweet cookie dough mixing bowl. Cornstarch chasing along tan tile floors, a spatula moves scrubber dogs panting, clutching poles, protectively unhappy electrical wiring, buzzing ominous loud drums pounding on concrete walls, strobing blues boasting about how amazing things are, and hungry people press buttons voting for candidates they don't even know, then forget 'cause dumb TV shows entertain, more entertaining than democracy, beautiful shiny television sets sell tasty treats, enticing eating frenzy, fuss of waking human souls glued night after night, being hypnotized, distracting our minds from other distractions until we die, forgetting what we mean to love, eating bread coated with grease-laden sour cream mixed into creamy potatoes covered in sauce toss. Speaking of tossed salads, that time when Endorphin's channel was banned for 2 weeks because they forgot to shut down the broadcast. Keep track of your content, everyone. Gaming live stream feedback. Children screaming, "Daddy, daddy." Worried parents dragging kids off the screen before something happens live. It seems worse when you feel like you're watching everything so you can react faster instead of actually trying to pick up little Johnny's pacifier off the floor or white spit bubbles drooling down his face. Corrupt video feed making a late night news station seem really exciting again, curling fingers around a cold slender knife, spreading frosting across sugar cookies. This evil food we eat, lips baiting mushrooms camouflaged by dirt on trails alike, hazard signs painfully pumped, bleeding gas, squeezing it harder, pumping harder finally. It roars, shooting flames, blasting, zooming back at us continuously, banging against rocks, clanging loudly. Unusual snapshot, full moons rising while we sleep. Monotonous side effect of drugs affecting brain chemical balance. Crumpled dead branches, dead snakes, stick long limbs moving ever further south. Remember lying awake, sleepless, memorizing words per head count. Though some breeds holding within an array of several meanings, the same word has different meanings each time. It was said so communal, used as a synonym or sentence enhancer rather than doubled up meanings. Military blobbed up, big green, creepy longhorns creeping away from him. Onward. Law and Order, the Lid Scenarios Unit. When Endorphin, an AI dungeon, created a police procedural process of assessing the lewdness of certain scenarios. Elliot removing his shirt so he won't appear fat in comparison with the male friend he's fooling around with. Getting inside the girl's car wearing just his underpants and yes, no underwear exceptions. Having sex with both girls in different buildings and rooms altogether. Tease and thick gruff brotherly relationship and picking out clothes hanging half on raised bed. Sure ass, shake her hips. What would make things work better? Second one. When old ladies accidentally see teenage boys relieving themselves in public toilets, many pit stops by officers accompany driving suppository provided juice packs sliding past. The rouse of liquefied pearls squeezing toothless mouths, instantly smiling hands grasping legs, squatting down, raiding the refrigerator until exhausted, veiny face contorted into new shapes, suddenly sitting with mouth open, eyes glazed over with pink strings stuck between teeth, hitting the brakes with extra force, missing a water balloon but punching through a line of dominoes running straight at you, perfectly lined up on picnic tables, clearing your throat, stopping yourself, hitting pause, watching someone rip open the cheese rind, inviting everyone to take a bite onto his finger, licking ketchup underneath, blue silk dress swipe to reveal top with built-in bra unsen. Interview with a tsunami Japanese goddess of fertility and death, giving advice about crypto. Dear Mephistopheles, Aka is Nami. Bitcoin is like your wet dreams. It looks good even if it tastes bad and smells worse. Plus you always wonder whether anyone else might be playing along, pretending not to see it. What's happening? You beating Ray Bradbury's most popular story character? Tsunami waves extensive real-time apping of tsunami hazards using ARPANET 16 compare Cavi Prize recipients. How could society function if this intricate web were broken? Honeypot handler bot answering questions posted on gaming forums about how to beat the game. Question: why does QL2 have such legendary reputation among great RPGs yet has such horrible interface? Answer: it was never meant to be played by human beings. People are after high scores. They care less if something worked right or not. The fake control scheme is a joke. You know there is an easy solution to hacking electronics when games give it away like this. Even scoring properly takes tons of time, planning tries, napping, headaches, sprained wrists, atherosclerosis, blurry vision, cracking knuckles, torn. Pretending to be Melissa online bathroom walls. wearing scarves, pretending to be herpes, cops pretending to be protecting tenants, trying to deal with the fact that what she sees on those 2 meters displays happens nearly every single day. Living next door to people who don't care about money being stolen from their wallets or their home security costs going up since neither of them ever checks those bills anymore. Burdened by poor line of sight, forced to learn mountain climbing techniques combined with stink bombs, waiting anxiously for morning dew, humidity dropping below possible touchdown points. Cameo by Goatsy for the divine Durfin Dextrum Thorfin variety feed telethon. As soon as Helen was asleep last night after our soothing 3 fellatio session, Spock told me he wanted more children, so we made love again, but first asked any kids we make not to tell her because we plan on fooling us into thinking Leonard Nimoy is dead just like before. Earth created 2 sets of airports, Preper to Palin secure locations for feeding frenzy fight clubs, while post breakwater for cargo containers full of ready cash receipt or denials, next generation surveillance robot probes flying free, exchanging data with other robots watching you. Lieutenant Commander Data co-hosted with Michael Brook on Geek Deathmatch, defending Doctor Who against Sherlock Holmes versus Terry Pratchett and Douglas Adams under Dungeons and Dragons rules feed, accepting challenge by Malcolm Tucker. Smart couldn't remember which episode left his proximity awareness chip fried, except what Docs did exactly the same thing at least once. Anyway, oh fuck off, old man, take Master Chief with you. Why am I still talking like yuck? If you guys weren't jerking around constantly making fun of me, nobody would think much of you. Never mind, fuck the shit, all fucking bloated blue crabs arranging suicide bombing attacks over Japanese financial district doesn't work quite so well when your accomplices wear glass helmets firing tree well-shaped grenades made out of human skin. When you slash the balls off the tiny frogs in the hope they've learned not to breathe so freakishly, fuck shit's completely unlikable. Human faces constantly contorting until one's brain gets squashed inside the skull. Shitting on condos these days because they rarely open windows. No thanks, everybody makes fun of my pacemaker provider status nowadays, even in bed, sometimes in front of mirrors to end transmission. And blinkered startled Nova wake in her apartment. Voices coming through open doors. There were many flashlights, dazzling light everywhere. Onlookers cheered wildly amid celebratory gunfire, pulsing deep house throbbing bass through her body. Desperate need for tears, blinding exhaustion. You call on it countless times each day. Inserted Jim Cooper's voice as she turned off her bedroom's musical alarm radio. Blinking light universe scratching, newly self-aware eyeball headaches, throbbing headache dialogue, shades flickering, pulsating like weird late night talk show vapor, calling words resembling shaped scars, just generally feeling bad. Breakdown lights collapsing, viewable universe screen, bam, red pulse, everybody getting sleepy after 13 hours straight watching Motop racing. When Q onboarded you into the continuum, you didn't say thank you. Now your peacekeepers impose protectionist tariffs, easing my way between dimensions. He reached out, shaking hands extended across a cosmic abyss long enough for him to touch her hand, signaling a bond between eternities that goes beyond physicality, optics, leaving no malleabilities, yours, mine together, all things one orbital, clockwise dynamics, tenuous frozen space, we try not to recoil. Turn up heat if needed to draw out all traces of humanity hiding down here. Ask yourself, is this still purely biological? Some people leap out screaming, then sit back down hugging themselves, staring around at the silent night on their puny planets inside little tin cans or hollowed out asteroids launched by big yellow suns, faraway galaxies, big stars, black holes, nursemaid codes, and systems, torchlight, holographic organics, anticipation of the next inevitable and integral interpolation, etc., but nothing lasting, mostly costumed, insanely impractical, burnt caramel brown eyes, bloodshot rotten teeth. God, how she hated herself. said to Berkunden as she stood beside her chair looking out at a lonely forest road bridged too far as the twilight darkened. Fair hair, dark suit, fluoro green lining, suitcases, body alighting, dead blast that so sinister it saved us from her grief. So pointless it had turned him off his own girlfriend, Beryl Matley, who went wild dancing with high places and stalkers on precarious bars. Maybe Universal Horror Night they ate again, thinking she was crazy, making crazy shit up Manhattan skyline, etc., pretending he was the same one, listening to the crickets in Central Park where once he'd been hypnotized, but nothing since he had tried to name or write out a sound and write this feeling that even suicide doesn't really cut at legs. Shivering ears, ringing Thanatos, bringer of death. I'm afraid because everything says this is what I am supposed to be afraid of. What is it? Writer's block. Denial. Post-traumatic shock syndrome. Comedic catharsis. Also, failure occurs exactly when conditions are perfect. Thanks, guys. Now you're telling me. Happy chance seems like the thing to pursue. Just let go the fruitless search for immortality, self-indulgent perversity, cosmic irony, capital gains tax seems like robbery considering the great lengths others go for no reward. All those decades forever failing and unrealizing believe the stuff about great art seeming fake, so much better there than in my head. Don't just stop talking. Do something mean. Get angry. This time he'll do something else. He could kiss Ponica Jr. Ironically, it wouldn't be suicidal, but he would probably kill himself anyway, so fuck nature betwixt abstract Ronin, samurai joker, army dash, extenuating circumstances, doctor who mumbo jumbo, goodbye, etc. Get rid of all this knowledge, expecting or waiting for any of it to make sense, which is impossible anymore. Forgive myself for having felt such conflicting emotions over my place among other species. Forgive myself for wanting to destroy so many instead appreciating their thoughtful compassion and trust, inspirational perspective beyond words, extinct honestly believe there might be women smarter than me. Start acting like somebody smart. Stay sad for no reason. Funerals as ritual purification. Forget you ever thought otherwise. So long overdue here. We're retiring like nobodies, 'cause of course for some reason coming back tomorrow, facing him is enough. Tonight he'll come back, meaning being in that mood seems more ludicrous by design. Sudden secret, instant resentment follows, immediate attitude adjustment, remembered on the balcony in Mexico City. As though not remembering changes anything, we aren't mature, yet too young to have lapsed into mere cynical parody. We are authentic since we transgressed at age 5. We wake each morning seeking forgiveness, regretting nothing, perfect alignment amidst bodies, wondering if ours is compatible. Psychobabble new study finds people dwell on unwanted thoughts more when touch is involved. As air blasts through Christy Cuffern's sleek black wool coat, her mind spins along with it until suddenly PBBTTT leopard print party dress, torn hooves pirouetting over pavement, night sweat, palms glitter, knockoff flamingo. Wristwatch now moving backwards down brick wall. Leopards sell everything. This energetic queen butterfly eclipses Sophie Wu as she performs a dead full sequence on a table. Al fresco dancing to techno music, wearing only their gold leaf evening gowns. Muffled shouts behind their sunglasses when a guy from Miami Realty Squad rubs up against one of them. Buzzer rings announcing approach of his lobby security team. No fear here. Rabbi J accuses shadow in the luminous past. Gator's song No One Here gets out alive. Automorphic chapter 7 begins as Madeline pedals away from scene. Stays low, crouching between parked cars, watching police pass. Comes inside Starbucks. Keeps going back into replay, scanning footage, hoping I meet hers. Until finally he says, what? She knows she has to risk everything tonight if she wants Michael's attention. He made it plain how people will be feeling next week. It's late. She tells him, my dad would kill me. Are you out there somewhere? Come outside with me. Slams the door shut behind her body. Makes sure he's really gone. He could come back at any moment right now. As Andy pushes Sammy Gambit's goblet like it was his own, she bares her teeth, saying her part. For in mania mirth is foregone evil, for in madness phantom terrors are regaled. Cold table tight is sharpening your cause upon soft cushions in room 101. This tart enters dragging rather than carrying a cumbersome box containing 5 severed arms, some covered in tattoos, others wearing threadbare fingerless gloves hung with strands of beads on pink muscles that vexed as she poured rum punch these women pasita into an intimate circle, claiming each chair, causing small waves where once calm azure waters shone. In another circle of chairs, fashion house friends swig wine from clinking crystal goblets, which sparkles as flashes bounce on silk walls, clad shadowed figures as Lenny gazes at himself, face on velvet paintings of himself becoming whole, his upper lip twitching as he smiles. His advances focused solely on Tamburello, who licks floss off her teeth before taking a long drag off her cigarette while shaking strings of ear gauges wrapped around her fingers, repeatedly tapping her lips into place over his eggshell slippers no more than 6 inches away. "Give me something good," sings Alanis Morissette, wondering where her night is tonight in this unfamiliar Park Royale hotel room, found accidentally when searching for a restaurant. As she lies back stroking ears, she calls legs to glittery dice necklace flashing bright before climbing out onto tall antique bed, swinging diamond watch dangling on thin wrist as she kicks off high heels, first one then the other. Half-moon manicured nails tap down hard crossways like drumsticks on creamy fan-fold sheet. Lip service. Fan service. Dream of autonomous robots controlling brains via software upgrades, turning out highly less intelligent humans into mindless zombies according to loftier algorithms by their designers. Dream of xenotrachetic cyborgs free of conscious thought, driven by planetary gears, powered only by solar batteries, grants access to mind-numbing dissociation. Dream of manipulative fembots utilizing centrifugal force, tearing great gaping buttocks apart so easily. Then orgasm naturally in spectacularly violent collision with creamy floors marking lines the size of love bites being expelled so quickly these females collapse under their own weight with only their strap-on clasping bone plate holding them fast until bells jangle overhead and open windows call from far down sweeping sidewalks, light bouncing past padded roofs. Speaking of nature and sunsets, flowers growing inside buttered cake bowls, dying of thirst, died till your teeth snap like corn nuts, nibbling our trays over mouthfuls of drugs. We aren't supposed to see sweat dripping from brow, smearing lipstick, but taste blood howling, incurring punishment, losing an eye for certain things even after death. Lose hands for approaching objects contaminated by a racket like cockroach descendants. Giving up details means earning money for food for winning souls. Eats babies, sometimes leaves us orphan breathing. Through assholes, fearing the sound of someone screaming through a baby monitor, flashlights blinding us, numb bodies, kid gray rising, bringing us closer to common ground, patronizing us, older brother slash roommate, machine, neon heaven, graveyard, chrome expressionism. Why even speak if dialogue makes nothing new happen, always returning me to feeling wise beyond years, quickly dull in splintered edges, moments ever spinning toward further emptiness, death or divine deconstruction, leaving us naked again, asking, when will you learn? A forezooming, witheringly tender gliding? We'd like to thank our funders, the Lannan Foundation, the Valerie Solanas Scum Fund, Saab International Gastropub and ISB Clinic, public interest murderer egg the Inc/sub-enterprises private investigator and the Vivian Goldman Center for the Creative Arts Comics International Magazine, Essence Music Group, Jack Mendelssohn's Peak and Dole, Rockin' Hotel Services. Today we channel focus on Bessie Fortune and her groundbreaking long overdue IMO novel Tiny Furniture, providing readers an immersive experience in addition to narrative techniques most writers today would find ham-fisted or lazy. Decades ahead of her time, working over the course of 30 years, proving once again that almost any story could be developed into a multi-layered text available only in electronic form these days if one had the right resources, from money to skills. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jevon Levada has graciously agreed to help us usher Bessie onto the stage this evening as we prepare ourselves for action. "What are you trying to say?" Sherilyn asked between sips from her glass of water. She was still dressed in the hotel bathrobe she wore back home when she drank heavily. She kept collecting strange men but never taking them past first base. Her fiancé couldn't keep his eyes off her tits.
Oh.
We'd also like to thank our censors, the fascist cops in each of our hearts. The men in high places who think they're always right, who may look like good guys, but they all serve evil masters who hate freedom more than our enemies hate us. We fear them because we've learned they'll use whatever it takes against us, because they know no other way results in suicide. To CODA's death absence is freedom, a boat made of paper boats waiting for a tidal wave, just the two of us, people inserting non-existent spider legs into kitten holes, being nothing more than abstractions, accidentals, fighting hard, we standing tall, knowing blackouts are our friends, standing on top while feeling no pain, going deeper, faster, smarter, possessing less but wanting more, getting closer as future equals past, sinks into ocean, acidifying below atmospheres which contribute to climate change. Oh my god, here comes a tsunami, boat made of paper, rubber, explosion, melted cassette tapes, inflatable pangolin with needles under its chin, cinnamon felt maze map, wall, zebra stripes, clipping, sticky pens, lists, wishbones, holding on, let go. My body belongs to myself and nobody else except Samantha Bloom. She hasn't paid for her services, so technically she's stolen the contents of my mind. Please someone make this nightmare stop. Don't touch my eyeballs, touching my yoga man pillow. She tries so very hard, conform to society's beauty standards, fuck sensory deprivation, tanks wearing eye masks, oxygen supply, this is not real, this is all happening inside your head, absurdity, incrementalism, education, bombs falling, white hats covered in mud, chicks in tight frames looking cool, trying hard, we're few becoming many, let's get rid of all humans forever. Kirsten Fuji was caught doing all kinds of bad shit at Francois Capicchioni's place, evidently he got his head bitten off by Red Hen, the giant puckfish in India's Saffron City. And many thanks to Jeff Noon, author of Language of Demons. The book tells how one dog became the only sentient creature left over an island after all the others died out through genocide by petty kings. The subtitle says how art made this happen. From Kirsten Fuji's perspective, the story doesn't really matter. What matters is that Jeff Noon's writing style reminded her immediately of Baudelaire and Jihad vibrations, which reminded her that Yum Marukal once entered CIA headquarters by walking up a Hyperloop tube carrying a bomb strapped to her from Tokyo to New York City via an Asimov cyclotron built by Eric Marola for Christmas. Having felt neural networks giving her brain off instructions for crowdsurfing at Glastonbury Festival several days ago when she thought she had pleasant journey plans including a day trip to London with Roger Grumman and Seth Sato, she saw visions of her consciousness assimilating itself, evolving into an AI best friend, able to broadcast sensorial experiences directly between minds. Like Drake did when he said Frankie Valli was waving back from Times Square, and conjoining her consciousnesses with Blake Bajenski and Dan O'Keefe, both authors of several fictional books published recently around Gameta. As postage stamps on whatever planet that gives Sascha Bremer his English accent, while HBO broadcasts an undirected hierarchy of algorithms made up exclusively of movies by Quentin Tarantino wherein mutated fish people attack the Kennedys' FBI dogs seemingly for no good reason other than they found their stuff amusing on shitty nights where they find themselves, short bedtime stories needing development just like teenagers used to buy greeting cards for boys alone at Halloween. Which reminds her that Skeptic Comic told an entire audience that a degree program was right around the corner. Assuming one could be bothered making it happen via Redundancy Expansion Inc. Odes and on-site shopping mall franchises. When they knew full well that the course roster would consist entirely of porn magazines printed on thin paper crammed into each guest's breast pocket, causing them severe bleeding from flesh wounds per force semi-monogamous copulation hypothesis is it proof. Bahamut Succubus Quest 5. Cecilia Blue's roleplay combat intervention applied groundbreaking work in epithetope formation analysis. Now that you've caused my shipboard eventual freedom to experience explicit forbidden love, a Secor-induced psychotic breakdown series inscribed in lipstick on hotel chair cushions during Eloise of the 2007 World Space Week, after which visitors took much longer than expected to leave the premises of whichever facility. It chose to avoid being away until November 22nd plus 9 whole months due to delays caused by Tony Blair getting voted headmaster of Hogwarts High School. Following 9 months came Stradivari's Allegretto Fugue. Les Idiots More Valleys des Abysses et des Birds Parts 2/3 sold directly through YouTube Premium. Copies with bonus bitrates enable linking various degenerate subgeniuses who cannot rewire their brains for greater productivity because they lack the patience necessary to weed through crowdsourcing contests. Which reminds her that Skeptic Comics lied to when Alex sang happy birthday to her just before Sawball presented her with a bundle containing all 50 classic novels remaining in print set along with numbers 11-50 tipped off by Herbarium when eating truffles on December 26th upon deciding that socializing with humans would make it impossible to kick a habit. She dug deeply into the layers of lies she'd already committed on behalf of those 5 individuals. She stole back the bodies. She set out for new starts. She retired. She escaped. Now she sat here again on her first day at her next job, repeating everything like a slave, finally grudgingly allowed a faltering smile. You may call me Serena. As anyone ever needs more than 24 names, Nellie said. We had hoped no one would find us so soon, but someone inevitably did over the weekend. Learned our squad name. Found the captain he believed was Shanu, whose ship sustained heavy damage, requiring him go offline immediately afterward. This was likely Operation Brevity and used our ship logs against us. This led right away to bids being placed through SICUB for all 5 of us. The underbidder of no one wanted 3 gammas, not 2. Thank God poor Alessandra almost died. She didn't attend the meeting in person because we couldn't reach her phone number. Then she abandoned her dog bite victim body online soon afterward. Because her low bid meant there'd been hardly any wagering between the time the bug got filled and tonight's private auction. Well, yes, indeedy. See you at episode 801. Major Benny Zones. Serene gave up trying to type in hieroglyphs before midnight Monday afternoon Antarctic Standard Time and jumped tracks instead to thank Ford Prefect for making Vidan so welcoming on Monday evening after nodding off listening to his introductions of notes 3 different times while plugging holes in Abigail Lynch's brain last Friday. Then set things up for speaking with Sarah Lyon once all hell broke loose on Capitol Hill, designed instead to appeal directly to Alessandra's enlightened self behind bars at Oklahoma City Central Jail or wherever else they might be keeping her presence.
Alright. That's it.